morning, everybody. Matthew Armstrong here on day 27 of our 90-day program, Transformation from Mediocrity to Mastery. And last couple of days been very challenging. We find the last few days very challenging to be completely straight, for sure. As you can see, my environment's changed because we've been out of routine. We're staying with relatives. There's no internet access in the particular family. No, they don't have the internet access. So I'm renting some office space, and then so in the morning I'm having to travel down to do that. Technically, complete technophobe that I'm learning, and so Victoria is coming down with Indigo to set up each morning as well. So yeah, so logistically, there's been some difficulties and other things as well. Just going on a routine, going through this program, it's yeah, it's been challenging. Well, not perfect, right? Not perfect. Not trying to be perfect. Not trying to be perfect. Trying to serving, right? Something like I'm just looking at this screen now. I'm thinking, I need a spotlight. We've got the spotlight. I'm in this shadow, and so yeah, tomorrow I'll bring the spotlight, and then we'll improve, right? It's not going to be perfect, but we can always improve, right? I'm always looking about how to improve things, not how to be perfect. And this is something that maybe was in my personality, was the personality type, was this perfectionism, right? And someone's been mentioning it to me more lately. He says, "Oh yeah, I see that. You know, with some personality types, I see the perfectionist in you." And he just maybe certain ways I set things out and do things in certain ways. He said he'd see that perfectionist, and yes, that's the way I really was. I remember being younger, and the first time somebody said it to me, and I actually realized that yes, that was part of my personality type, was to be a perfectionist. Was when I was working at a canoe center when I was a teenager, and the manager asked me to go and weed one of these one of the areas of the ground, big flower bed. He asked me to go and weed it, full of weeds. And so I went and took probably half the day weeding that flower bed. But by the end of it, there wasn't one weed in it. And they couldn't work out why it was taking so long to weed this flower bed. You know, they're saying, "Oh, you're still doing that?" The other guys. I said, "Yeah, there's a lot of weeds here, you know." And I perfected it. Not one weed left in the flower bed. Took them all out individually, hand by hand. And then the manager came along, and the other guy said, "Look, he's still doing it." I was like, the new guy there. The manager looks at me and says, "Well, he's a perfectionist, isn't he?" And he could see the effort I put into doing it. And he said, "Well, he's a perfectionist." And suddenly I went, "Oh, okay, that's why I do certain things in certain ways that a lot of other people don't." And then I said, "Well," I said to one of the other guys, "Well, when you do it, how do you do it? Surely you got to get all the weeds out, right?" And he says, "No, I just put one of those big forks here. I just turn over the ground." He says, "I get the whole lot done in like 30 minutes. I just turn over all the ground and turn it all upside down." So that's how I do it. I went, "All right, okay." So I saw that in me, but I also saw that how that was a potential block, a potential limitation. Because sometimes being a perfectionist is you beat yourself up. You know, when things aren't perfect, when you don't do things up to the standard that you want, you beat yourself up for it, and then you're never rewarding yourself or patting yourself on the back. You're always kind of hard on yourself. You know, when you're perfectionist, right? Nothing's ever good enough, right? And then that also spills over into relationships as well. When with other people, that when they do things and you get frustrated with them because they're not doing it up to your expectations, right? They're not doing it up to your standard. And so that spills over into that. So it can cause stress, it can cause disharmony within yourself, within others, whenever you are, whenever you hold on to that perfectionist trait, right? So I these days, after many years of work and seeing what really serves, asking the question, what really serves? Does it really serve to be a perfectionist? And sure, at times it has, but overall, what serves better is to be an improvetionist. So I'm always looking to improve on things. I'm always looking to improve. I'm thinking, okay, there's a shadow here. I need to put a light on this next time I come in. I don't know how the hopefully we've got better internet speed here, so the audio and picture is going to be clearer, because I know the audio and picture hasn't been that clear, which is something that's been annoying me a little bit, But what can I do, right? The only thing I can do is move to a city where they have fiber optics, and that's probably just not an option here. So look to be an improvetionist. Whether you're a perfectionist or not, if you're the opposite of being a perfectionist, look to find that middle ground. Look to being an improvetionist. And by doing that, you say, well, how does this serve? How can I serve, right? But sometimes being the perfectionist, and we're not serving. We're just trying to make things perfect, but we're not actually serving, because sometimes we don't do anything. Sometimes it completely stop us, because we're like, well, I want to wait till everything's perfect before I start. So it could be, it can create procrastination, being a perfectionist, where you just don't want to do anything until everything's perfect, till all the pieces are in place before you even start. Right? And there's a great book called Ready, Fire, Aim. Ready, Fire, Aim. Don't wait till everything's perfect. Don't wait till you're just right on target. Just ready, fire it, and then start to aim after you fire. And that's a great thing to do in business and in life, is to just get moving, just get going, and you can improve as you go along, right? I know too many people who just never get out of the starting blocks because they're thinking some magical thing's going to happen, where the universe is just going to make everything perfect for them before they even start, right? And you got to get over, if that's you got to get over that, and you just got to start, you just got to go, and you got to be okay with imperfection. You got to be okay when things aren't right, and at the same time be looking to improve on everything. And if you're at the other side of the spectrum, where you don't care of anything, right? You're not looking to improve on anything, then start to look to improve on things. Just ask the question, how can I improve on this? How can I be of more service? Asking questions like that, you'll, how can I raise these standards to an even higher level? And then answers will come. Well, you can do this. Well, you can put a spotlight here, and then you won't be in the shadow anymore. You could, maybe set your alarm half an hour earlier, so that you can actually be here on time. So you can start this hangout on time, because some people are here on time expecting it at a certain time. Because that's some people there. Some people, the personality trait, they're going to be there right on time. If it doesn't start within 5 minutes, they're like, screw him, I'm out of here, right? How disrespectful, right? But it's not. We're all just working within doing the best we can within our own personality traits. And if someone turns up late for you, it's not disrespectful whatsoever. They're just running off their programs. It's as simple as that, right? So realize that everybody's running off their programs, and look to improve on the programs each and every time. Okay, so we're going to go into our really excited for this next section, activating your genius, right? Activating your genius. Okay, so we're reading from The Values Factor by Dr. John Demartini. If you haven't bought this book yet, you can get it on drdemartini.com. You can also find out more about him and all the other stuff that he does. or you can go to amazon.com.co.uk or wherever, and you can purchase this book and follow along with the readings and complete the exercises. There's a ton of exercises in here that, when you complete them all, will radically transform your life like no other book has ever done out there. That's my firm belief. That's why we're following these teachings in this 90-day transformation process, because I asked the question, how can I serve my audience to the best of my ability? How can I do that in this 90-day program? And it was, read this book. That was it. Okay, so activating your genius, page 166. I'm always doing that which I cannot do, in order that I may learn how to do it. Pablo Picasso. A few years ago, I was teaching an evening seminar program in Dallas. As the program began, I asked the room a familiar question. Who here has a job that requires them to do something that they're not particularly inspired by? Well, of course, hands were flying all around the room. I scanned the audience to find someone who I felt would genuinely benefit from the experience of working with me at the front of the room. I noticed an eager woman who appeared to be in her early 30s. She looked determined, and her hand went flying up first. I had the impression that she was very committed to living an inspired life, but that somewhere along the way, she had begun to give up on the belief that such a life was possible for her. So I invited this woman, whose name was Marissa, up onto the stage. Marissa told me she had risen quickly up the corporate ladder, and she was already a junior vice president in a local finance company. What in your job do you not love doing? I asked her. I hate doing the paperwork on contracts, she replied immediately. Oh my God, I hate that so much, and it is my designated responsibility. I'm not allowed to delegate it. The whole room laughed sympathetically. I could see that everyone was thinking of some part of their job that were equally uninspired by and seemingly stuck with. I don't just dislike it, she confessed, taking courage from the room's support. I'm terrible at it. I am just bored and terrible at understanding the legal jargon of contracts. And every time I work with them, I feel so stupid and frustrated. I've tried to become proficient at this, but it is just no use. Contracts are something I don't love and can't seem to do them well no matter how hard I try. Let's see what we can do, I told her. First, let's look at your hierarchy of values. Within a few minutes, using the value determining process that I shared with you in chapter 2, we had figured out what was most important in Marissa's life. What her highest values were. This woman wanted to be wealthy via saving and investing money. She was a single mother. She had 2 children in middle school, and her dream was to be able to send her kids to the best colleges and even to pay for their graduate education if they chose to go further. She wanted to create enough family wealth to support her children in any endeavor that interested them, to enable them to start their own businesses, if they so desired, to spend some time traveling, or to do whatever they wanted to do. And her goal was also to be financially independent by the time she was 50, so that she could experience her own freedom and at the same time pursue some of the earlier dreams that she had put aside for the greater value of building her family wealth. Now, the beautiful thing about Marissa's goals was that she was actually meeting them. She was saving money, investing wisely, and meeting all the financial steps that she had laid out for herself. She had risen quickly in her company, and she had the respect of her colleagues, and she believed she was well on her way to achieving her ultimate goal of starting her own mutual fund and money management firm. The only problem, she told me, was her client contracts. And I could see when she told me about them that there were really 2 problems. One was that she had to spend several hours each week doing work that did not inspire her. The other deeper problem was that Marissa, normally confident and empowered, reverted to an insecure woman whenever she thought about those contracts. She told me that she considered herself proficient at the rest of her job, even excellent at it. But she also made it clear that dealing with the contracts made her feel dumb. So what we need to do here, I told her, is activate your contract genius. Well, good luck with that, she told me, rolling her eyes, because when it comes to the contracts, I can tell you one thing, I am absolutely not a genius. Well, good luck. Oh yeah, I got that. So then we started the process of linking her task of understanding, negotiating, and writing large corporate client contracts, which she assumed she was not great at, to her deepest, most meaningful, highest values. I began by asking Marissa how doing the contracts was going to help her fulfill her highest value, establishing wealth for herself and her family. I hate doing those contracts, she repeated. I wish it wasn't part of my job. Yes, but that's not answering my question. That's dodging it. Let me ask you again. How is doing those contracts going to help you fulfill your highest value building wealth? Eventually it came to light that when Marissa was working on the contracts, she was getting the opportunity to work with major decision makers in some of the nation's biggest companies. She began to see that working on the contracts gave her the opportunity to meet with potential clients for her future firm, as well as a chance to learn a great deal about business and finance and their legalities from the heavy hitters she was working with. She understood that every time she was doing paperwork on a contract, she was laying the groundwork for personal interaction with some top people in the business world, people who ran companies that could become her future clients. As she thought about it further, Marissa began to realize that these contracts that she had disliked so much were also giving her the opportunity to make contacts for her children. Perhaps some of the people she met in this way were alumni of the schools that her children would someday want to attend. Or maybe they would become her children's future employers, investors, or mentors. The network of personal relationships that she had an opportunity to develop through this frustrating task actually began to look like a terrific opportunity. As soon as Marissa was able to make more than a dozen links between her difficult duty of working with those contracts and her highest and most important value, her whole attitude shifted. You could see it happening right before your eyes. The insecure woman vanished and a confident, empowered woman took over. Instead of feeling defeated by this task that had made her feel dumb, Marissa now felt inspired to master this new area of knowledge so that she could avail herself of all the opportunities it could bring her. Because the task was a path to fulfill something she truly valued, she began to welcome the challenge rather than seeking to avoid the assumed pain. When I asked her whether thinking about the contract still made her feel dumb, she shook her head impatiently and said, "I don't care how I once felt. I'm inspired by doing the contracts now because they are important to me, and I can't wait to figure them out." The values factor had enabled Marissa to link her challenging intellectual tasks to her highest values, thereby changing her relative attention deficit disorder into its reciprocal attention surf disorder. As you recall, our highest values determine what we attend to and what we ignore or cannot even notice. We have some form of attention deficit disorder for anything associated with our lower values, while we become highly attentive to anything associated with our highest values, organizing our perception and attention to focus on those things. Thus, by applying the values factor, Marissa had transformed a boring task of desperation into an amazing opportunity of inspiration. Most important, she had activated her genius, opening up new possibilities for her mind and her talents she had never before suspected. In fact, that's the very definition of genius. One who can see how uninspiring challenges are also inspiring opportunities. Genius with and without the values factor. You hear my son? If you do not link your mentally challenging activities or topics, your highest value. Okay, let's read that again. Genius with and without the values factor. If you do not link your mentally challenging activities or topics to your highest values, you might not awaken your genius. You might not give birth to your greatest creativity and innovation. You might not maintain focus and become easily scattered. You might not enhance the physical wellness and adaptability of your brains and its cells. You might be labeled a person with attention deficit disorder. You might become vulnerable to depressive and bipolar states. You might not activate your full inspired drive and ambition. You might frequently require outside motivation. You might believe you have a poor memory and forget things easily. You might become more introverted, hesitant, and likely to procrastinate. When you link your mentally challenging activities or topics with your highest values, you awaken your genius. You keep your brain growing and take advantage of its neuroplasticity, its ability to develop new capabilities and deeper connections. You become capable of learning at remarkable rates. You retain knowledge longer and more accurately. You break through educational labels to define your own individual genius. You become a more creative and confident thinker. You become more vitalized. You experience a calm, focused, and centered mind. So there ends our reading for today. So you're ready to awaken your genius. So that's given it, that's a different spin on things, right? Than we hear from many other places. That's a different way of viewing our potential, right? Check out my T-shirt. It says "Infinite Potential Machine." Just thought I'd show you that one. So by linking what's most important to you to the thing that you're finding uninspiring, you can actually become a genius at it. Whatever's most important to us, we tend to become geniuses at, right? Even if at the start we're not, you know. For me, I'm improving on it. There's people that are a lot better than me, but I'm improving on it, is my communication. And it's something that I saw that was really difficult for me. Having a conversation with someone was really difficult. Having more than one person speaking to an audience, really difficult. Just couldn't do it, actually. My brain just shut down. But then I linked it to what was most important to me in life. And suddenly I realized that I had to master it. I must master it because it actually was part of my evolution, it was part of my mission. And so once I decided that, it started to come very rapidly. My communication improved rapidly. Blocks just dissolved away that were in my brain. But once shut down and lit up, right? So, you know, don't think that just because you're not good at something, that's just it. You can improve, right? You can improve on anything. And now we've learned that there's neuroplasticity in the brain, and we can shape our brain to our will, then that opens up a whole new lot of possibilities, right? And it's exciting. It's exciting, isn't it? So I'm going to finish up there for today. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you click on the link below, you put your details in, and you'll receive regular emails and updates from me. And also, if you want to join my team and create financial freedom online, create an income online, another income stream maybe for you, then you can click on the link below, and that will take you through that process as well. My name is Matthew Armstrong, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow for day 28. Much appreciated. Appreciate you very much. See you there.